forget. And I am going to share my desktop. Just going to go through a couple of slides first, and then we'll give it here just a minute. Go through a couple of slides, and then I'll just basically jump into the back end of Zoom. I'm actually going to do, based on just how the flow of the training from Friday went and a little bit of feedback, I'm actually going to do the training almost completely in reverse. So I'm going to start with the stuff that I ended with last time. Just to make sure that we kind of key in on a couple of things that I know that people are really interested in taking a look at. So just so we are clear, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's 3:30 Central Time, which is my time. So just to hopefully, sorry, I should introduce myself. My name is Kate Johnson. I'm the Manager of Faculty Engagement. This is a training for full-time faculty on Zoom. From the meeting invite, I hope that you saw that kind of the preface to coming to this training is that you at least have a basic understanding of a ProZoom account. So if you have the basics of ProZoom, this is going to be a level 2 training. So if you don't really have the basics of Zoom, it might be a little bit over your head, but I do have another training that goes over the basics that I can send you. Maybe you can watch them in tandem. So learning objectives are set up the back end of management system Zoom to best fit your needs, use meeting registration to generate reports, and use branding to customize your meeting. There are 2 great resources that I would strongly recommend that you get into if you want to learn more about Zoom just on your own, and that's the Zoom Help Center. I'll send the PowerPoint presentation, but this is actually the link to it. And then there's live chat within the Help Center. So sometimes as I was learning Zoom, there were questions that I had that I didn't really feel like I could answer. And the live chat person was always able to help me. So I'm going to do a quick transfer here and move over to my profile. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to move that page back over. Ooh, okay. I am going to mute folks real quick. Who else don't I have unmuted here? If you can, otherwise go ahead and mute yourself. I don't want to mute everybody because then you can't unmute yourself. So just make sure that you're muted. What I want to go over next is the back end. So let me pull that up. I'm going to actually just move this over here. And I'm going to share that screen now. So if you have dual screens, feel free to bring up zoom.us. Zoom.us is a link to get into the Zoom, the back end of Zoom. You'll need your staff email address as well as your unique password. Just to kind of go over real quick this kind of profile page, when you turn your camera off, you want to have your picture showing, this is where you will enter that. You'll upload it. You can hit change. You can hit upload. For those of you who have taken professional photos, and I know a number of people have those, that file is going to be really large, that photo file. So you can use a free website editor like Pixlr, Pixlr.com, and I've included that link actually on the PowerPoint presentation as well. So if you upload your image and you hit image size, and you make the top number or the largest number 200, it'll automatically adjust it down, and it should make your image small enough that you can actually use it in Zoom. Couple of things, this is your personal meeting ID, so if you just want to start a meeting right now, you can send somebody that link, and it's always going to be you. The key here, actually I'm going to put annotate on, so you all can see my spotlight there. Make sure that your account shows Pro. So if it does not show Pro, you're going to need to put in a Zoom help ticket. The Zoom help ticket will, you're going to ask BTS to make sure that they have the Pro account linked up to you. You already have a Pro account assigned to you. We just want to make sure that BTS has that linked up. What you may have to do is if you have a free account that you had signed up for, you may have to go ahead and delete it. Another quick thing is if you upload this photo, but you're not logged into Zoom, it's not going to show, it may not show your photo. So just a quick time thing about that. And then time zone, I'm in Central Time Zone. So as you're scheduling meetings, it just is helpful that it's sitting at the time zone that you're in. There's other stuff about, you can change your password here, host key. It's kind of, as I shared in the last group, it's kind of getting into the weeds. I don't want to go too far into that. So let's go into scheduling a meeting so we can talk a little bit about how you would brand a meeting. And I'll show you what I mean by branding. So if we click on schedule a meeting, this is adjustable. You can name the meeting whatever you'd like. This meeting is awesome. And that's what the description will be. We can set the date and the time. You can schedule it for up to 24 hours in the Pro accounts. Make sure it's on Central Time. Again, that's my time, so it links up. The key will be to make sure that you hit required for registration. The only way you can kind of brand an invite is if you have the required key clicked. We'll talk a little bit about this, host and participant, a little bit later. But go ahead and hit save. Then once you hit save, it's going to give you options at the bottom. So here's the option for branding. So when we click on branding, you have the ability to put in a banner, and you also have the ability to put in a logo. So the logo doesn't necessarily have to be a logo, but here, let's put in a banner because I know that will fit already. And then I am going to upload, let's see, TLC. Do we have headshots somewhere? And I'll put in my own just because I know that one fits. I have it already saved for reduced size pick. So that's going to populate there. Okay, so we've got an AU. Oh, got a chat here. Where do you get the banners and the logos? Wendy, I've just accumulated those over the years, but I would be happy to share that, that link out when I send the follow-up. I've got all kinds, I've got shields, I've got, you know, the AU logos. I think I even have anywhere from Doge to the College of Doctoral Studies, everybody's logos, but I'll send that out. That's a great question. Email set, so registration, let's say we want to add an additional layer of questioning. We want to put a custom question in. So we either have the option for short answer or single answer. So PB or J. I'm totally making this up, by the way. PB and J. So we're going to create that short question. Or let's say we want to know what city attendees are coming from. So not only are we going to make that a city, we're going to ask city to be part of it, but we're going to ask it to be a required question. So save all. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to take a look at this link. So once we saved it, this link automatically appeared. This is the registration link. So we can click on that and it's going to show us what our branded invite is looks like, our registration page. So it's got our logo up here, photo. So if you have, you know, a club or something that you have a speaker that you are asking folks to attend and listen to, you could put the speaker's photo there. Or if it's a college meeting, you could just put the AU shield or something like that. But again, it's got a place for our city. I live in Davenport and I'm just PB. So, and then you would click, you know, I'm not a robot and register, but this is how you would brand. Branding works for Pro accounts for meetings. I was born in Davenport. Nice, Kathy. Any questions about branding? This is also where you would put polls in. And again, that's kind of a little bit deeper into stuff, and we can do another training that goes into, you know, every little nook and cranny, but this is where you would add polls. So once you have a registered, you know, once the meeting happens, there's kind of two things that you can use. Do we have to add polls before the meeting? Yeah, Wendy, that would be the easiest way, because you can't add them inside the meeting itself. They have to be added on the back end. Can you see the name of the free website, Reduce? Yeah, it's Pixlr, Pixlr. I think it's .editor.com. But again, on the PowerPoint that I'm going to send out, Tammy, it has not frozen to death yet. It has not, William. On the PowerPoint that I'm going to send out afterwards, it has that Pixlr link to that free editing site. So let's say you have a meeting coming up. There's kind of two ways I would say that I generally use the reports. One is for registration. So let's say you're registering for a big event and you want to pull the registration off to do some targeted email. That would be a really easy way that you would pull a report for this. I don't have anything that I can think of right now that I'm doing that for, but you can go to the dates that the meeting is supposed to take place and search by that, and then pull up that registration. The other one, which is helpful, is the usage, so you can see who attended the meeting. I'm going to go back just a hair to TLC because I know for sure that there's registration that happened there. So my account was used for the Teaching and Learning Conference. So there were folks who registered to attend. 111 people participated in room 1, day 1 of the conference. So what we can do is we can pull up, and when we have, you can get reports for sometimes for meetings that don't necessarily have registration, like email addresses, for example. So I can pull the registration from this meeting. I can see who attended by the names that you typed in, but it's not going to give me, you know, how long you were in the meeting. The attentiveness score is just basically Zoom is on this main screen. If I move my cursor away from this main screen, it will change. It will dock me for how attentive I've been to the meeting, but it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. But it gives you an email address, so you can do follow-up for folks who are attending the meeting. And for example, I told Tammy that I'm going to pull everybody who attended this meeting and send you directly, you know, the information about the link to the logos and the PowerPoint presentation, the recording, everything. I'll send out a larger one, but I want to make sure at least the people who attended got the information that they need. It exports in a CDS file, which can get a little wonky, but you can save it as an Excel doc. So no problem there. So that's essentially, you can also change it. So for this day, this was a really long meeting. And so when I downloaded this, I did the show unique users. So for example, let's say Diane logged in 3 times. Rather than having her show up 3 times on my report and then I have to filter her out, it automatically will do that filtering for you so that you can get an actual count of who the unique users are, as well as their email addresses that they listed. Okay, so now that we've jumped through that and jumped through reports, I want to take you back just a little bit into the back end. So we've gone through the profile. And again, I'm really going to try to hit the points that I think that are going to be most useful for you. There are these 3 settings right here. So meeting settings, and then it'll come up as 3 tabs. I'm going to work backwards because they kind of get progressively larger as you go forward. For the telephone, really, I do not play with this setting whatsoever. I can absolutely get you links from the Zoom Help Center that can help you walk through that, but it's, again, not necessary. Recording, so here's a couple of things. For example, you have the option in a pro account to either record to your local computer, that's what a local recording means, or a cloud recording, so it saves to the cloud. I already have too many videos on my actual computer, and it makes my computer run really slow. So I just took the option off, and I only record to the cloud. The cloud is set though that I have to pull recordings down within 30 days. So I just have to be prompt about getting those pulled down. The other thing are these settings. So these can kind of drastically change what your recording looks like. So recording active speaker, what that means is this screen that I'm sharing here is my shared screen, and the active speaker is the little box that's me talking. So there'll be a little green box around it if you're looking at the Brady Bunch view for our meeting today. But the active speaker will basically flip to whoever is talking. So record active speaker, the person who's talking, is the thumbnail, and then with shared screens. So the shared screen's big, active speaker is small. There's also the opportunity to record with a gallery view, but sometimes you could have somebody who has their video on and they're just participating, and maybe they had to take a call or they're, eating a quick sandwich or something. You may not necessarily want them being recorded, and they didn't think they were being recorded anyway, so let's not do that to them. Save active speaker, gallery view, and shared screen separately. That means you're going to have separate recordings for each, and unless you're looking to either mash them together, it's probably a little bit more than anybody wants to deal with. The other important part is if you're going to use the active speaker, is that you record the thumbnail when sharing. So this tells you how you want it to be recorded, and this tells the Zoom what to record. So we want to make sure, because if you have record active speaker with shared screen, but you don't have record thumbnail, it will just record the shared screen. Found that out the hard way. Don't make that mistake. And then I always optimize the recording for third-party video editor, because I usually have to clip it somewhere, or I have to upload it to our YouTube page, and I want to put, our either our Ashford logo at the front, or if it's the Teaching and Learning Conference, that logo. Let's see, automatic recording. I think maybe if you were going to be in a situation where you felt like you were going to forget to press record, and this was a huge meeting, and the second you walked in, virtually walked into the meeting, you just wanted to start recording, you have that opportunity. Just realize this is an overarching setting. So what we kind of do on the back end really informs how all of our meetings are set up. So try to make them as, user-friendly to you as possible.
If it's not
and then multiple audio notifications. Yeah, so some of this just gets a little bit too crazy.
Though.
So let me pause real quick. Does anybody have any questions? I don't want to jump too far. I know I'm going over a lot of stuff in a short period of time. Well, feel free to pop it into the chat if you have a question. So scheduling meetings, I allow the host and participants' videos to be on. There's one thing about these, for example, if you put on a participant, let's say I have on that I want participant videos to come on, but you on your own personal settings have decided that you don't want your video to come on when you enter a meeting, your settings will override mine in that particular case. So just realize, even if you're encouraging people to be on video, their personal settings on that one will override it. Audio type, I always leave the telephone and computer audio on, just because you never know if people need to do a call-in. Join before host, I usually only leave that on if I am doing internal meetings. If I'm doing external meetings, I have folks wait till I arrive there. Just because if it's external, I may not know exactly who all of the people are who are attending, and we hope that they're there for the right reasons. But just in case, I want to make sure that I, as the host, am there so that if something happens, I can deal with whatever situation that happens. Mute participants upon entry. Again, that's something that I use for external, but generally not for internal. Again, some of this kind of gets in the weeds. I'm just trying to kind of touch on the back end pieces that I actually even use and that I think might be useful to you. Chat, private chat, and file transfer. So I almost always have chat on because you have the ability to turn chat off as a host if you want folks to stop chatting. But I usually turn private chat off and file transfer off. Do you search the cloud by speaker name, conference name, or presentation title? Oh, how do we find the video in the cloud? Wait a moment. Oh, yes. So recordings. So if you go to recordings, it will have it by the name that you've titled it, but you can also, if you know the meeting ID. So the meeting ID is this 9-digit number that's at the back end of your link. You can put that right in to search by ID, or if you know the date that it happened. So you know the meeting was today or 2 weeks ago or something like that. Let me get back to meeting settings. Come on and scroll. So I generally turn private chat off. Again, one of those security features, I guess, that I implement for external meetings. So if Tammy and I are doing a presentation and William jumps in and he's an external person and he hasn't come there with the best of intentions, I don't want him to be able to private chat Tammy and kind of like send her mean messages or something like that. I'm assuming that those things probably aren't going to happen, but you never know. And so we just kind of, turn that off. And then file transfer, you can share a file in a meeting. And I'm just going to share one real quickly. Do I have pictures anywhere? So basically what it allows is that anybody can put an image through the chat. Yeah. And what I want to make sure is that not everybody has that capability. Again, if we're doing external. So if you jump into the chat, I'm not even sure what alumni picture that is, but I'm sure it's from something to do with alumni. But there's an image in the chat that I shared. And William, Tammy, you're a great person, says William. Wonderful. He wasn't coming to me. Feedback to Zoom. This is a personal preference. Zoom just allows attendees to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down for their experience with Zoom. If you want to allow attendees to do that, absolutely to your discretion. So co-host, I think, is one of the best features. I always have it on. Reason being is whether you're doing an internal or an external meeting, if for one reason or another you kind of want to shut down participants, you don't want them to be able to file transfer, you don't want them to be able to share their screen, you want to really kind of keep the presenters as the main focus and the participants as watching. The co-host allows untold number of people to have presentation abilities. So right now I am the host of this meeting, but I could make all of you co-hosts or one of you co-hosts, and you would then have the ability to share your screen, to chat, do all of those things if I had them versus what the participants would be able to do. But again, this is an internal meeting, I don't have it shut down. And these are more just control things, allowing you to, put an attendee on hold if they're getting crazy, desktop sharing, annotation, so you can see the kind of red light that I have on here. This is annotation. It's also gives you the ability to draw. So you can draw all over your screen if you'd like, and you can clear all that drawing. Right now I don't have it shut down, so participants can draw on the screen if they so chose. Let me go back to my spotlight. Whiteboard, again, if there's opportunities that you look for to whiteboard something out, whether it's trying to explain a difficult concept, whether you're teaching, I don't know, like a supply and demand curve or something like that, you can use whiteboard and annotation to do that. Nonverbal feedback, so if you click on participants, the participants list from your toolbar, it will give you the option to say, click yes or no to things. If you click on more, it gives you the ability to give a thumbs up, thumbs down, clapping, coffee break, need a break. They're just some nonverbals. Breakout room, and this is one that I think we can do in a meeting, maybe like a tier 3 training, kind of talking about how you could take a meeting, and I could break this meeting up into 3 rooms if I wanted. Let's say we were discussing a topic and we wanted to have a little bit more intimate conversation. We can split this room up into 3 and then bring us all back maybe 5 minutes later, discuss what the results were, sort of a way to do virtual workshops, which is something that I know folks kind of miss if they're not on site to be able to do for training. So it's just an interesting way. And again, we can go over that at another time. Virtual backgrounds. Let me see. You all have the ability to do this. But next to, oh, that's not the one I want. Let me clear. Good. Virtual backgrounds, you have the ability to put any sort of picture on your background. It could be the Empire State Building. It could be, I was pulling on that list. Can you address that? Yeah. Polling. So where I showed you on the meeting, Wendy, this basically just allows either you turn it completely off or you can allow it to be on. So if you turn polling off, it doesn't even list it as an option for the room. For any of your meetings, you can add polls. So I generally leave it on so that if we go into a scheduled meeting, meetings, and I think this is, I don't know what my meeting, maybe that's what I just scheduled for today. Then I can go to the polls down here and I can add a poll. So the title of this poll is Zoom training. And do you like Zoom training? And we'll just do a single choice for here. Yes, no. And we save it. Then for our upcoming meeting, we have the Zoom training poll. So that's the only way to add a poll. You have to go back to this area to add it. Yes, you would have to, the only way to add a poll is to go to the back end. There's no adding polls from the Zoom meeting itself. But that also means that you can get these uploaded without having to open the meeting, which is nice. And then it also can give you a little bit of reporting about how people answered the question. All right. Meeting settings. Just going to pause real quick. Questions from anybody? Questions, anything we've gone over so far?
I have a quick question regarding, like, if we have troubleshooting that needs to happen, because with email conversion from Rockies to Ashford, I tried to go in under Ashford. It said I don't have an account. So I went and logged in under Rockies and then tried to change my email within Zoom, and it says that account already exists. So I don't know if maybe I just need to start all over, but who would be the best person to troubleshoot the technical side of Zoom from the Bridgepoint perspective?
Yeah, so it would be a BTS ticket, and who they're going to kick it to is probably a gentleman named Lee Kennedy. It'll be somebody on his team that will address that with you. Okay. I kind of ran into something similar, Tammy. During TLC, I was using Haley Pessner's account, and she didn't have an active account under AU, but she had one under Rockies. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think there's probably that carryover that if she has one, maybe you can't have 2 accounts assigned to you. I'm not sure. Yeah, like on one hand, it won't let me sign in under Ashford, but then when I try to change my email within it, when I'm Rockies, I tried to edit my email address. Right.
That account already exists for an Ashford. It's just
yeah.
Funny. Yeah, this is funny, but I'll put in a ticket. No worries.
Okay, I'm going to bring up, give me just a second, guys. I'm going to bring up, since the problem with, not the participants, guys. The problem with Zoom is you can't, it doesn't really show Zoom tools within the Zoom meeting, even if you're sharing your screen. So what I'm going to do is share an SOP that I created real quick to just show you. Let me see if it shows, if I've got polls on here. Real quick.
And will you send that out as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
So on the, basically on the bottom of the toolbar, you know what, I'm going to do something else instead. Let's go to Zoom Help Polls. And it should bring up the Zoom Help Center. I would show you, but unfortunately you wouldn't be able to see it because I don't have any polls built for this meeting. But launching a poll, there we go. So once you're in, it is a, let me make it a little bit bigger. Once you're in the meeting, your toolbar will include an option that just says polls. You'll click on launch the poll and it will bring up a poll for attendees to take. When they're done, you end the poll and then share the results. So it basically is just a pop-up box for you and for the attendees. So you create the poll on the back end. So when you go in, but you need to create it in that particular meeting. When you get into that meeting, you can click on polls. If you have only one polling question, you can bring that up. If there's multiples, you can bring that up. Will it give us option to which poll to display? It will, Wendy. You know how it said, asked me to name the poll. Essentially whatever you name it is how it will show up. So you can pick which one you want to display. And then as people are taking, it'll tell, how the voting is going. And then you can end a poll whenever you feel like it's fine. And then you can share the poll. It also gives the opportunity to relaunch the poll. So if 4 people joined and it's only an 8-person meeting and you want to retake the poll, it gives you the opportunity to do that. But, polling is somewhat limited. There's not, it's not like a Google form. You can't do, every type of poll, but it's an engagement feature that's helpful. Or if you just want if you just want to get a general number, a general consensus from the group, it's an easy way to do that as well. But that's, like I said, the Zoom Help Center is phenomenal for this type of thing. So as we're going in, I know we're already over. This have just so much information. You guys have great questions. Again, on the PowerPoint presentation, I've given the links to stuff that I think is, if you have interest in it, but it's, just a little bit past probably any of us is going to use. Screen sharing, I always have screen sharing on. Again, I can shut that down within the meeting. And we can talk about that again on a kind of a 3rd tier type of training, but it allows you to have anybody share screen. And I think that's, most of my meetings, multiple people are sharing screens. Email notification, I do leave this on. Like I said, I do cloud recordings. This way I don't have to keep checking back when the video is ready. I automatically get an email when it comes through. I'm trying to think if there's anything big that's, you can do scheduling for other people on the same account. But again, I don't know that that's necessarily something that everybody's going to do. Waiting room, I wouldn't turn that on unless you personally want to go out and allow every single person to enter the meeting. Even if they leave and want to come back in, they're always going to be put into the waiting room and you have to let them in. So the waiting room is a very kind of high level of security. How do we raise our hands in meetings? So if you go to the participants list, there is at the end of the list, it says yes, no, go slower, go faster. Depending on how big your participants list is, you might already see a raise hand. Where is that? Wait, that's not it. More. Where's your raise hand feature? There we go. I don't have it because I'm the host. So Wayne raised his hand. I'm going to lower it, but you should be able. I think it's under your individual name within the participants list. Good question. All right, I'll just take questions basically from here on out. I know I'm already over. I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. We can definitely do, if there's specific questions that you have that you just need a little bit of extra attention on, please let me know. I'd be happy to kind of walk you through what those questions are. But most of it, you know, just like anything else, any of our systems, practicing a little bit with it definitely helps. If you have interest, I've got a couple of things, like I think it's a 3-question survey, but you can put on there if you'd be interested in doing, a next level training as well. But again, I'm available. Otherwise, feel free to watch this recording back, look at the PowerPoint, let me know if you have any questions.
Bye, Kate. Thank you so much.
Bye, Tammy. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording then.